Welcome to another episode of Business Highlight, a show by the Boca Raton Tribune. In Business Highlight, we talk to local professionals and highlight their company, nonprofit, to our viewers and show them what they do and what they're passionate about. I'm your host, Pedro, and before we get started, please make sure to follow us and like us on Facebook. Share this video when you watch it on Facebook. Also, you can follow us on YouTube. All those links will be below. Today, I have the pleasure to speak with Gary Hidelbrand, the president of the Rotary Club of Boca Raton. Sorry about that. Gary, how are you?
I'm doing great, Pedro, and I want to thank you and the Boca Tribune for inviting me. It's a great paper. It's the only local paper we have that gives us any information of what's going on in our city.
Yeah,
so thank you.
I didn't pay him extra to say that.
No, you did not. You didn't even know I was going to say that.
Thank you, Gary. I really appreciate it. So for those that don't know who you are, I don't believe in many don't, but introduce yourself to us and tell us what you do and things like that.
Well, I would be surprised if any of your followers actually know who I am, but I've lived in Boca Raton since 1980, and I moved down with two little children who grew up in the community and went to the local high schools and the University of Florida. And I became actively involved with different nonprofits. And the most prominent one that I joined, which has changed my life, is the Rotary Club of Boca Raton.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about what Rotary is, what it does, so if people aren't sure what you guys are all about.
And that's really a good question because Rotarians and Rotary is an international organization. There are over 1.2 million Rotarians in 35,000 clubs throughout the world. Wow. In fact, it's very difficult to travel and not be in a village, town, city, country that does not have a Rotary Club. And that is including the far reaches of Africa, Asia, and Philippines, you name it, there's a Rotary Club.
Wow, that's awesome.
Rotary is a service above self organization. And that's important because it is service above self. But it does promote peace. It does promote fighting disease, which I'll go into a little bit, clean water, saving mother and children, which is, as you know, a major factor throughout the world, and education. Those are the only things we really focus on.
Right. Okay, no, I thought like you said you were going to go into more about the diseases and stuff. So if you want to go ahead and talk more about that.
Oh, I would love to talk about the diseases because what we've just conquered and what Rotary has accomplished. And to give you an idea about Rotary is started in 1905 by three gentlemen in downtown Chicago. And the most famous being Paul Harris. And these gentlemen decided to start a nonprofit that would serve the community and the world. And little did they know it would grow to what it is today. The number one goal that Rotary has recently accomplished and conquered is polio.
Yeah.
As Pedro knows, and many of you may know, polio has been eradicated through the help of the World Health Organization and Rotary. And they have actually eliminated polio in Africa.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Which includes Nigeria, which was the last stronghold for polio. The last two countries that was Afghanistan and Pakistan, both for political reasons would not allow Rotary to really exist, has recently relented, and their children have been given the vaccine, or the sugar cube, as I would call it, or the drops, and it will be eradicated worldwide, meaning it's one of the few diseases, and I'd say few, meaning one or two, that have been eliminated from the planet.
Right. Yeah, for sure. That's amazing. It's great stuff that Rotary does. And then when we look into it, like in a focus at, environment kind of thing, we're talking like you're the president of the Boca Raton Rotary Club. Tell us a little about the club of the one in Boca Raton and how long it's been around and things like that.
As I mentioned, Rotary started in 1905 in Chicago, and in 20 years, in 1925, which seems like an eon ago, uh, yeah, I know. There were over 100,000 members around the world already joining Rotary.
Yeah.
Florida, the oldest Rotary clubs in Florida are the major cities, meaning Jacksonville, which has a club that's 100 years old, and Tampa has a club that's 100 years old. The Rotary Club in Boca Raton did not begin until 1957. And that was and we were we were sponsored by the Del Rey Club.
Okay.
So if it wasn't for Del Rey, there would not be a Boca Club. Now there are several clubs in Boca Raton. We went from one to, I think there's 5 or 6 now.
Right.
And the reason there's an abundance of clubs is we meet on Wednesday at lunchtime. And if you cannot meet at Wednesday at lunch, there's a morning club. And if you cannot meet in the morning or afternoon, there's an evening club. So the difference in the different clubs, we all have our own agenda, but we all focus on helping the community. It is called service above self, and that's what we all have in common.
Right. What was some of the things that some of the programs that the Rotary Club of Boca Raton has done that our viewers might be familiar with?
Well, if you've ever been to Sugar Stand Park and you've ever seen the carousel,
Right.
that carousel, which is it's fun for the kids, and it's also a money maker for the city, and the city keeps it running. But the Rotarians, there was 4 clubs at the time, actually paid and established that carousel for the children for future generations.
Oh wow, yeah.
And so it's just a fun thing to go to. And Sugar Sand Park is a beautiful park if you haven't been to it. The Rotary Club of Boca Raton, if you've been to the library in downtown Boca Raton, as you walk in this library that's now several years old, there's a youth center, media center, and that was dedicated by our Rotary Club. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so if you see the etched glass when you go into the doors, and it's for teens and younger.
Right.
There's a big Rotary sign, and it's welcoming by the Rotary Club of Boca Raton. The Children's Museum, it was dangerous if the kids would go to the Children's Museum, so we paid for a fence to go around it, the perimeter of the museum, so children, if they escaped their mother's grip, did not run into the street.
Yeah, that's right. It's very smart. Aside from those types of programs, are there programs that the Rotary Club of Boca Raton does that helps the community, in the future generations?
Yeah, there is, Pedro, and our major fundraiser is what we call OPO.
Right. Yeah.
And OPO stands for Outstanding People and Leaders in Our Community. And every year, up until my presidency, we would have a black tie gala, and we would raise significant money. Now, what was the money raised for?
Right. Yeah.
We provide scholarships to local students who are usually first-generation students that need a break. These are not your kids going to MIT, and they're not students that are going out of state to the most prestigious schools. These are kids that, as I said, are first generation and need a break, and we recognize that, and we will present them a scholarship to probably FAU or Palm Beach State.
Yeah.
And if you haven't looked at the curriculum at Palm Beach State lately, there's like 148 programs at that school,
Uh-huh.
which are so up to date and so current that I don't even recognize probably a third of them anymore because it's not my generation
Right.
of subjects. But we also give students for the first time scholarships for trade through Palm Beach State. So it's not everybody is meant to go to college, but everybody should have a trade. And they offer trades like marine engineering for fixing boats. Do you
Right.
know what a shortage there are for people to fix boats? And we offer students in that category a scholarship.
Uh-huh.
We have right now we have over 44 kids in college.
That's awesome. Oh,
Right now, we've provided hundreds of scholarships, well over $1 million in scholarship funding, and it's all raised at our gala and throughout the year with other projects like Future Stars, which is held at the Meisner Shopping Center.
yeah, the amphitheater, yeah.
At the amphitheater, the city allows us to use the amphitheater,
Right.
and we let high school and middle school kids perform that want to be professionals, and we give them a stage to do that. And we'll get up to 1,000 people at these shows for our future stars.
That's
Unfortunately, that's been canceled also.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So has our OPO is not canceled. As you know, it's going virtual.
Right. And that was my next question. How has the situation around the COVID-19 has affected Opal this year?
It's a major change for us because this is usually what we'll get between 400 and 500 people and leaders of the community and honor just the most outstanding leaders of our community. And these are the hospital CEOs, our mayors, our philanthropic leaders, like we had Bernie and Billy Marcus 2 years ago, and they're the founder of Home Depot.
Yeah.
So and Christine Lynn, who is you mentioned giving back. This is obviously a name in this community.
Yeah.
These are the people who inspire others to give back, and these are the people we honor. And when we raise money, it goes to helping our community and scholarships. This year we're going virtual, and which presents a different situation. But most of your nonprofits are figuring it out. And we just happen to have the #1 philanthropic auctioneer in our club. And as you know who he is, Neil Saffer.
Yeah.
And he is just a wizard at figuring out ways. So we're going to have on February 21st, 2021, a virtual, and the theme will be Back to Our Future, which is like Back to the Future, but we're changing it back to our future, where we will be looking back and honoring all those who of the past for the last 24 years that have given us funding and support to offer scholarships.
Got it.
So that's how we're changing.
So it's going to be an online experience this year.
It will be online. We will have incredible auction items. It'll be fun, and it will be around about 5:30 or 6 in the evening on the 21st of February, 21. And so if you're interested, you just have to look at opalsaward.com, and it'll bring up the brochure.
Yeah, no, for sure. But so aside from Opal, how has COVID-19 affected Rotary Club Boca Raton directly? I'm assuming you guys aren't being able to meet face to face and things like that, right?
Well, I became president, and if you ever, most of your Rotary clubs have obviously throughout the world meet in person, and they usually meet once a week. And ours is a loving, hugging type of club, and I will be known as the COVID president because I have not met in person yet.
Oh, wow.
It's really difficult if you know Rotary and the compassion and friendship it builds with everybody. Um, and I say this, and this is probably true with most clubs. There's just an instant friendship and acceptance.
Yeah.
But our club, as soon as the pandemic hit, what did we do? We looked at who's being hurt the most. And those are the people who are most underserved. And what do they need? And food. And and so instantly in March when we stopped meeting, we did a food drive. And within literally 2.5, 3 weeks, we collected over 3,000 pounds of food
Wow.
and collected $10,000, which we gave to Boca Helping Hands, which is, by the way, Boca Helping Hands is one of our major nonprofits our members support.
Yeah, for sure.
And when I say support, we are there helping them from job mentoring with their people that need help to their resource center, which people who are in need call in for assistance. And
Right.
our Rotarians are in their office volunteering to help. So they are the first thing that we did to step up.
Yeah.
We also have Bowling for Bread, which is a fun activity, again, to help raise money for Boca Helping Hands and for many of the kids' activities, the Boys and Girls Clubs, Rotary's involved with. We did the Bahama Relief Fund, and when there's a major hurricane, it's Rotarians who step up, and Pedro knows how Rotary. Well, I'll give you an example. When Puerto Rico was hit and they needed food, and the government is not exactly who you want to give anything to.
Right.
Food for the Poor, which is one of the largest providers of food, they reached out to Rotary on the island because they knew Rotarians would get the food to the people and not put it in storage and black market the food.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's pretty impressive that a major food donor would not get food to the island without having a reliable source, which are Rotarians.
Yeah, for sure. So Gary, you've been in Rotary for a while. What would you say would be your most memorable moment as a member of Rotary Club?
That's pretty easy. For me and for many of our members, the most moving and rewarding evening is what we call scholarship night. And this is when we bring in students in an office at 6 o'clock at night, and we're there till almost midnight. And we interview these students who know the only chance they have to go to college is to get a scholarship from us.
Wow.
And we interview them. Well, they open up and give us stories, and just tears come to your eyes because they want to achieve. They really don't have often a lot of family history with going to college. So, so that evening we award them scholarships, and they don't know they're getting it because after they leave, we discuss each child and why we should give them a scholarship or not. And it turns out that pretty much every child we interview, we don't have this hard to say no.
Right.
And we have a certain amount of budget. So certain members will actually stand up and chip in a little bit more. So
wow, that's awesome.
So it's really impressive what a group of volunteers can do.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do like an elevator pitch. What makes volunteering with Rotary so rewarding, and how would somebody that is interested in joining join?
The most rewarding part is what you receive by giving back to the community. And what I have found, and I can only speak for myself, but I think many other people will agree, you are now surrounding yourself with the most positive people that you will ever meet. Their whole focus is to give back to the community. They have no agenda. They're not pushing their business. They realize it's service above self. And so what our club does, our motto is changing lives and building futures.
Yeah.
And so if you would like to meet instant friends, be able to travel anywhere in the world, and you bump into a Rotarian, or they know you're a Rotarian, you're instantly accepted. And to give you an example, we were up in Canada, and Rotarians were in Annapolis, which is a harbor town up in Canada, and they were having a fundraiser, and I tell them I'm a Rotarian, and that night they invited me to a pirate party.
Oh, wow.
So we're in Canada and we get invited to a party, and that's pretty much what Rotarians do. You go anywhere in the world, if you tell them you're a Rotarian, you're accepted.
That's awesome. That's great.
So,
Gary, that's all. No, cool. Go on.
So our pitch is our Rotary is Rotary Club of Boca Raton.com. So that's pretty easy. But there are many clubs, and again, it has to fit your schedule. And so joining a support group like Rotary is probably will change your life as well as you changing other people's lives.
Yeah, and that website is rotaryclubofbocaraton.com.
Thank
you. If you guys want to find out more information on the Rotary Club of Boca Raton and Gary and what they do over there, which is great. Really appreciate what you guys do, Gary. It helps the community a lot, and I know firsthand what Rotary does. So I really appreciate your time coming in, talking to us today about Rotary Club and Opal and everything that you guys got planned for the future. So yeah, thank you so much, Gary.
I thank you, and thank your family. As people don't know, your dad's going to be governor of the district of Rotary of the Rotary Club of Boca Raton.
Yeah,
so that's pretty cool.
For sure, it really is. Well, thank you so much, Gary.
My pleasure, and thank you for the invite.
Of course. Well, that's going to wrap up for us today at Business Highlight. I hope you found this episode informative. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to like it, share it, and follow our pages. You'll see all those links again below. Until next time, thanks for joining us, and have an awesome weekend.